What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today we have a video that I've been wanting to make for a pretty long time now, and it's been delayed multiple times. First, I wanted to make a video about these two right here, basically two generic cheap USB Type-C dongles, and I delayed it because I wanted to get my hands on some more hubs before I make a video. And then QacQoc got in touch and sent me this one, and then again, the video was also delayed. But as I was preparing for the video, the GN30H became in stock in the Canadian Amazon website. So now they were able to send me their beefiest dongle. And I gotta say, this is the best dongle that I've ever seen. Well, out of the collection here. But even then, from what I've seen online, this thing pretty much has everything you need. But anyways, let's go ahead, talk about them, see what the performance is like. We're not gonna go too deep, but I'll just tell you what's good and what's not. So let's get right into it. So, let's go ahead and get started with this one right here. This was my first dongle that I ordered on Amazon back quite a long time ago, a couple months back, and I got it for around 15 bucks. And it pretty much was the cheapest dongle. They don't even sell it anymore. This one is the Grand Vela. But if you're searching for dongles, you'll probably see this design a lot because it's a generic one, and I don't recommend using it for two reasons. The first reason you should not get this one is that the cable here is way too damn stiff. Basically, this cable doesn't want to stay where you put it. It's just extremely stiff. And by the way, just for reference, I've been using the Xiaomi Mi Notebook Pro to test these things on the Type-C port. The other reason that I found out that you shouldn't use this thing is it seems like they don't even sell these anymore. That is because when I actually plug in my SSD, it actually makes some coil whine. And that probably means that this thing does not have a proper power delivery circuit. So probably not the safest thing to use, but it does work as a USB hub, and it does work as a cheap HDMI out. Charging through this thing does not work with Windows. I can't test it with Apple since I don't have it. Alongside with these things. So yeah, cheap cable, and it does coil whine. And you're probably not going to find this anymore. Don't recommend getting this. Put this aside here. Then we have this thing right here. That's the next step up. You can see it has more ports. So now we have two full-size USB 3.0 ports, two SD card slots, a full-size and a micro, as well as an HDMI out. And by the way, all the HDMIs on these things are HDMI 1.4s, so you're going to max out at 4K 30 FPS. For the most part, this does work. It does feel cheap. It's pretty cheap. I mean, you could probably rip the shell out here. You got an LED right here, and basically this is trying to copy that Apple design that uses two of the Type-C ports, and it's nice if you're using it on a table, but it's not the safest thing as well to use because, so basically you can plug it in like that or the other way around because it's Type-C. It works either way. You're most likely going to be using it in this way, so the LED is going to be on the bottom, and most of the ports are going to be upside down, except for the micro SD card. So you can imagine if you lift up the laptop and you accidentally bump into it, this could really just kill your Type-C port. So be careful if you plan to get one of these. This thing goes for around 30 bucks, but the flaws are, again, the design. It's not the safest thing, and it can only use one of the SD card slots. So whichever SD card is inserted first will work, and the other one will not until you unplug both of them and then plug one of them to get an SD card working. This thing does charge along with the other ones right here, and it only charges at 50% with this Xiaomi laptop. Really, none of these guys are rated to charge any Windows laptops. They're mainly advertised for MacBooks. More details in the description below if you guys are interested. But yeah, overall it does work and it does get the job done. Not the safest thing, but I'll leave links for it if you guys are interested. Then we have the QacQoc 22H. And as you guys can see, this thing is really well built. Very nice solid aluminum build, and space gray, and overall it feels like a fantastic dongle. The cable here is very nice and flexible. It's going to keep things nice and safe. You can pretty much put it wherever you want. It's got two full-size USB ports, a charging port, as well as an HDMI out. Just very simple and straightforward. Gives you most of what you need, but you are still missing an SD card slot. So if you want more, then you should go for this beast, because this beast pretty much has everything that you need. And I can totally recommend this thing because the price point for this thing, especially if you live in Canada, this thing is currently going for $55 on Amazon.ca. On the US website, it's going for around $75 currently for some reason. That might change, but these are the prices that I'm seeing right now. And yeah, it seems like this one might be going on promotion because currently this thing is listed as $66 on Amazon.ca. So prices will change, but either way, even if you get it for $80, this thing is still definitely worth it. So let's take a look at what we have here. So as you guys can see, already we are loaded with ports. So we got three full-size USB 3.0 ports. And then if we take a look at this white accent, we get an Ethernet port. So it's already that good. And finally, if we take a look at the last side, we have two SD card slots, a full-size and a micro SD card slot. And I pretty much tested this thing loaded with two SD cards, an SSD, two flash drives, HDMI out, and Ethernet port, as well as charging at the same time. And it pretty much worked flawlessly. If you're in Windows and you're charging, you might encounter an issue while having all these devices plugged in at the same time. Because again, in my experience, all these guys, according to Battery Bar, they were all pretty much charging at half speed. So keep that in mind if you're a Windows user. If you're a Mac user, it should charge at normal speeds. But again, I can't tell you. But either way, these are working hubs and they do work. And all of these guys have passed the USB 3.0 test, so I have tested them with this Samsung SSD, and all of them have pretty much displayed the correct speeds. So there you go. And they also have passed the hard drive test, and this is not any hard drive, this is a 4TB hard drive, so it consumes more power, and a lot of devices have issues with these kind of things, and again, they were all able to power that hard drive very easily. And finally, I have tested them with these two SD cards that are rated up to 95 megabytes per second, and the SD card slots on these two have also passed with flying colors. So here's a list of the prices again. So the generic one, I don't even recommend getting it. If you do see it, don't even bother with it. That one was around 15 bucks. This thing was around $50 or so. On average, this might be around $80 or so, and this one is around $30. So which one do I recommend? Well, if you have a cheap USB Type-C device and you really don't care on what happens, then you can just get one of these cheap ones and get the job done and use it every now and then when you need it. And if you do want to get something solid that's going to last and perform very nicely and offer a whole lot more than the other ones that I have showed you, then I would recommend getting the QacQoc ones. This is a dedicated company. You can check out their website. They do have a ton of different dongles and they just keep improving them. And obviously, this is the best one so far that they are selling right now. It's got an Ethernet port, 3 USB ports, an HDMI, and of course, the SD card slots. And if you want something simpler, you can get one of these guys. They're both flexible, very nice build quality, they look very nice, and the price points, I think, are very, very fair. So if you have a high-end premium laptop and you want something that's going to last in the future, and getting one of these is going to be a great investment in the long run, because as you can see, because a lot of devices are pretty much ditching the full Ethernet port and full-size USB ports. So yeah, that is actually pretty much it for this video. Thanks to QacQoc for sending these in for review. Definitely recommend getting these, and I really had no issues with them. And I definitely recommend getting the full-size one right here because it pretty much just offers everything that you need. And I think it will be a great investment to invest in one of these guys, especially if you're a content creator or if you're someone who uses the laptop at home and at work. You can get one of these for each place. You can pretty much hook up everything you need using this dongle. So you can hook up your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse, and just come to work, plug this in, and you're good to go. And go back home, you have another one or the same one, and just plug in one cable, and that's it. Anyways, that is actually pretty much it for this video. So again, thanks to QacQoc for sending this in, and thanks to Gabrus for sending this in for review. Again, if you see this one, don't recommend getting it. It probably is going to kill your computer or something somewhere down the line, or may not. Either way, this is inadequate. And one last thing, the QacQoc hubs actually come with these really nice protective pouches, so you can keep these things nice and safe, protected, and dust-free. So yeah. That is actually pretty much it for this video, so thank you all for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe for content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.